I remember the first time I went to see Judy Garland, I stole a script from her show and somehow managed to get past the red-headed, freckle-faced guard. So I marched myself up her yellow brick road and knocked on her door. She answered, said, "What do you want?" And I said, "I just want to sit and watch you in rehearsal." "Well, who are you?" I told her. She said, "Okay." So I did. Judy Garland, she was sad. She was difficult. But as a fan and as a young lady who loved everything she ever did, she is one of the reasons that you are watching this show tonight. Week after week, I remember I used to cut class every Thursday night because that's when Judy did her dress rehearsals, and I just wanted to be there. She never started on time. Never. She was supposed to start her rehearsals at 8 o'clock, and I'd sit there till midnight, or 1, or 2, or 3, sometimes all night, waiting with everyone else for Judy. But I would have waited all night, any night. Sometimes she was drunk. Sometimes she looked a lot older than she was. Sometimes she was happy and smiling and funny, one of the funniest people I've ever seen. And then the next week, she would be one of the saddest. And there was one night that she arrived late, as usual, and she was rehearsing a song, a beautiful song called "Here's That Rainy Day."
Maybe I should have saved those leftover dreams. Funny, but here's that rainy day.
The stage in the studio at CBS had a revolving stage, and she was just to stand on the edge of the revolving stage in a trench coat and sing. I remember she came in that night, and she came in late, and the crew was angry, and they didn't like her. They didn't like her at all because she was always late, and they had to wait and wait and wait. And sometimes she would feel like singing, and other times she wouldn't. That night she wanted to sing, but she was an unhappy lady. It was the only time where Judy Garland walked over to me and knelt down and spoke. And she said, "They don't like me very much around here." And I said, I know they don't." And she said, "But you do. So could I sing this song to you?" I think I just nodded because I probably couldn't speak. So she did. She stood on the edge of the revolving stage and she just sang, "Here's That Rainy Day." And I guess for her, it probably was.
Funny, that rainy day is here.
This woman is magic. She is. She has a Rolodex that reads like the who's who of the entertainment world. She is a veteran television producer and director, and energy that lights up the room. Karen Grace Cadle.
Yay! Yay, I should take my glasses off maybe.
They're beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh my God, your eyes match your glasses, match your earring.
Well, I know, I do that sometimes, not on purpose, but people say, "Do you always match?" And I go, "Well, I guess I do." Yeah.
It's great. And so it's in the perfect color.
Yeah, I love this color.
Yeah.
Thank you for that introduction. Is that me? I did all that?
You did all that and more.
And more. Yeah.
And more. And the question is, this business, I mean, why this business and why do you love it so much? When did the love of it begin?
I think from the first time I went to see a movie, maybe, because I just loved them, and I longed to meet some of those people I loved. Didn't know how I was going to do that, but the first job I got was going to an employment agency for the entertainment business, and I got a job as secretary in an agent's office, and he had a lot of big clients, stars. And the first phone call I answered in the office was from Judy Garland, and I couldn't talk. It was like, yeah, I thought, oh my God. So from that job, I learned how to be a production assistant.
Yeah.
And my first real job with stars was on the Don Rickles variety show. I don't even remember the year, 90 something.
Yeah.
And I met so many stars then. And then I got hired as a producer on a daytime talk show for 8 years and became a director as well. And I met every star in the world that I wanted to meet.
Our magazine?
Our magazine, yeah. And I met all the legends in my life. I just fell in love with the legends. I was never into the younger stars. Never have been, never will be, probably.
Right.
But I got to meet Deborah Carr and Greer Garson, and I mean these idols of mine on the screen, and Audrey Hepburn, who reigned supreme.
Yeah.
But I got to meet them all, and I guess I was lucky in that I got to keep them all. I didn't lose them. I didn't meet them for a day or an hour or 2 hours. I kept them in my life, but I had to work at that. I mean, I did it on purpose, but I did it. So that's why all of them who are still with us today are still in my life.
When you say you had to work at keeping them in your life, what does that mean?
You had to communicate. You had to write letters, write a note, call. You had to keep up the friendship, basically, which it became, as opposed to, and then I never did any of that. I mean, when I first produced June Allison, I wanted to know June Allison.
Yeah.
And so I became one of her really good friends. I used to go up and stay with her. But you have to, it's like the first time I saw Judy Garland. I mean, I wanted into that rehearsal badly.
Tell us about that story. That is, I mean, I saw that video on your YouTube page. It's
my website.
Brilliant.
No, well, I was told that nobody could get into Judy's rehearsal. There were signs everywhere at CBS, closed set. I mean, seriously. And they had this very mean, redheaded, freckle-faced guard at the door, and you do not get in. Well, don't tell me. I don't do that. So I was taken to see Judy Garland taping one of her first shows, and I stole a script that I saw lying on the edge of a stage for the Judy Garland show. I just kind of took it somehow. I don't know. So the next week I went back Thursday night for rehearsal with my script, went in the stage door entrance, and I said, I have to return this to Studio 33. And they said, do you know where you're going? I said, yeah, of course. Maybe. So I took this, he said, well, go ahead, but you can't stay long. I said, no, I know, I'll be right back. Never happened. So I went up to the freckle-faced guard and I said, I want to see a rehearsal. He said, well, you can't do that. Nobody gets into rehearsal. I said, well, what do you have to do to get into rehearsal? He goes, you have to have this signed by this piece of paper signed by Judy Garland. And I said, so where is she? Like I was going to get to her, right? He said, just follow the yellow brick road. And I went, okay. And there was a yellow brick road painted on the floor all the way to Judy's trailer, where there was a picket fence and flowers. Yeah. And I skipped down that road with my heart in my throat, thinking, oh my God, what if she answers the door? So I, stepped up on the step to the trailer door and knocked. And she answered. Yeah. It was, no, Mel Torme answered, because he was musical director at that time of the show. Yeah. And he said, yeah, what is it? I said, I wanted to watch rehearsal, but I can't unless Miss Garland signs this paper. He goes, Judy,
come here. I went, oh God. My heart was probably, because I love Judy Garland so much, as do a lot of people.
Yeah.
And she came to the door, no makeup, hair. I didn't care what she looked like. I didn't care. And she goes, what do you want? I said, I can't watch your rehearsal unless you sign this piece of paper. And I really want to do that more than anything I've ever wanted to do. And she goes, well, give me the paper. She opens the door. I give her the paper. She signs her name. She hands it back to me. And I go, thank you. Thank you. And a tear level up to here. I went back to the red face, freckle face guard. And I went, and he went, I don't know how you did that, lady, but go ahead, go in. So I went every week.
Wow.
I wanted in there
Yeah.
badly. And I have sometimes gone to extremes to get to meet somebody, but I really wanted to see her. I didn't care if I ever talked to her. I just wanted to sit there like a mouse, quiet and silent, and watch her rehearse, which she would show up sometimes at midnight or 1 or 2 in the morning. I sit there all night. I didn't care.
Yeah.
And then, the thing on the video that was so beautifully edited by Tony Morrell, who's another incredible entertainer, was a night that, it's just that you get these moments. I've always done presentations and talked about moments with some of these stars.
Yeah.
And that when you're in one of them, to stop yourself and get it, as opposed to having it and then you're gone and you go, God, I didn't say, I didn't do, I didn't get it. Like the first time I swam with Esther Williams, I had to literally.
You swam with Esther Williams?
So many times now I can't begin. For years, 13, 14, no, almost 30 years I knew Esther, and we swam. You couldn't go over to her house without swimming. That was like part of the deal. So the first night I swam with her, though, I had to take myself to the edge of the pool and sit on the step and just go, okay, you're swimming with Esther Williams. Okay, all right, you got it? Because when I was 14, I put on a water show in our pool I wired hula hoops together and dove in and out of them. I thought I was Esther Williams. And then I was swimming with Esther Williams. So you don't forget those moments,
I mean, Hollywood legends. One question that I wrote down, which I was going to go to later, because I could go through all the Hollywood legends.
Yeah.
Well, I am actually going to go there. You mentioned Audrey Hepburn. What was it about Audrey Hepburn for you?
Well, and many, many other people.
Yeah.
She was enchanting on screen. I just fell in love with her character, her beauty, her tallness, her long neck, her soft, the way of speaking. I loved everything she did, as many, many, many millions of people have, because even when you go to Italy today, Audrey's everywhere.
Yeah.
Every stores,
Roman holiday,
restaurants, Roman holiday. Yeah, I retraced all of her steps in Roman holiday and took a picture of me in exactly the same setting as Audrey was in the film.
Yeah.
Had to do it. It's like when you go to Austria, you have to relive Sound of Music in Salzburg. You have to sing the song in every location.
Yeah.
But with Audrey, I really, really wanted to.
Now, how did you connect with her? How did you meet her?
I would do this to my boss on Our Magazine.
Yeah.
I would go into him and say, if you let me do this, I'll get Audrey Hepburn. I said, let me go to New York, fly me to New York, let me have a couple of days, and I'll come back with Audrey Hepburn. And he went, yeah, right, okay. And how are you going to do that? I go, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet, but I will. And I will come back with Audrey Hepburn.
Yeah.
So, and I went to New York and I had a plan and it worked. And I came back with an hour special scheduled to do with Audrey Hepburn.
At the beginning of this interview, the first thing I said is that you were magic. And I said that because I felt something about that with you. But now as you continue to talk and I'm hearing some of the way that you do things, you are.
Well, when you're driven, when you really want something and you picture it and you go, I've got to get Audrey.
Yeah.
So you have to think about what what is necessary for me to get her? What's going to make Audrey say yes?
Yeah.
And I knew it was the children of Africa. And
Oh.
I knew that was her. She was ambassador to
Right.
United Nations.
How long did you know? How long did you know Audrey?
I met Audrey in probably 86 or 87. And then up until she passed in 93. Not that long.
Yeah.
Because she passed way too early. Way too early. But I got her, and I never enjoyed working on anything so much in my life as with Audrey. And I also produced and directed a piece with her and Givenchy at a fashion show of Audrey's costumes in LA. And I mean, Audrey was indescribable, really. She was like an angel. She just was not human. She really was. But when you were with her, you felt you were with a presence. When I introduced anybody to Audrey, like at the studio, they would start crying. Audrey did that too. I cried the whole time. The first time I had to go meet her, I cried all the way over to the hotel in my car. I could not get a hold of myself. I just couldn't get a hold of it. And how am I going to talk to her and tell her about the show and what my plans are if I cannot stop crying? Yeah. This is ridiculous. I never cried like that for anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, I met Robert Redford and all these beautiful men, but I didn't cry for them. But Audrey,
you seem very connected on many levels to each of these people.
Yeah, and all the levels are different. But when I connected. And with Audrey, it took about a second. But I apologized to her. She, her mate at the time, her partner was Rob Wolders. They were together 16 years. And he answered the door at the hotel. She had asked if I could come over and meet her.
Right.
Come over and meet her. Are you kidding me? Oh. So when he answered the door, I said, hi. He said, you're Karen. I said, yes. And he said, well, come on in. And Audrey, her back was to me. She turned around and she walked over to me and she said, hello, I'm Audrey Hepburn. I went, and I said, you're going to have to forgive me, Audrey, because I'll be fine. Give me 5 minutes, but I have to get over you. So I did. And 5 minutes, I said, okay, I'll be fine, but mercy. It's just some people, when you finally meet them, you've got this image of them in your head. And when they're better than that and more perfect than that, she was powerful in her own silent way.
Right.
And she's by far, I think, my favorite for different reasons. That's why I have her picture on my wall. See, there you go.
Oh my God.
Yeah, always. She's in every room somewhere.
I'm going to have to show you, I don't have it here, but I'm going to have to show you a picture of my mom when she was young, because
she looked like Audrey?
She looked like Audrey.
Oh.
She didn't talk like Audrey because she was from Mississippi. But
oh, well, no, she didn't.
She had long neck, like, you know, actually I got, sometimes I say I have Audrey Hepburn's neck, but.
Yeah, she had a neck. She had the neck. Oh my God. Whew.
You know.
But, yeah.
Yeah. And also when you say it's so amazing when you meet people and they're better.
They're better than you can imagine.
Than you can imagine. I haven't met as many legends as you say that you have met. But one person that I grew up loving was Lily Tomlin.
Mm.
And when I met Lily, I mean, I met her a couple times and then finally I went up to her. I was singing for a friend's birthday at the time. And Lily happened to do comedy right before I sang.
Oh, wow.
So afterwards, I tapped Lily on the shoulder and I said, I just want to thank you for all the joy you've given me. And she looked at me and she went, I love what you did. And she grabbed me by the face and kissed me on the lips. And I went,
yeah, you did. You're gone. You're gone. Yeah, for the next 5 minutes, you're like,
But it is, like you say, it's so amazing. I'm going to throw out another name to you, Elizabeth Taylor.
Yeah, that's a book.
That's a book. That's your book you're coming out.
That's a book. Yeah, those weren't all good moments.
Right.
I liked her a lot, but she was surrounded by these people, her posse, her whatever, and like 8 people at one time. You could never get to Elizabeth because there was always people to stop you. And But when I booked her on several shows. I worked with her about 5 times, I guess. And first time was in New York when she came out with Passion, the perfume.
Right.
And then the second time was on this Hour magazine where we did an hour. We did an hour with Elizabeth. We taped 6 segments, I think. So I had done more research about Elizabeth Taylor than I ever thought I would. I didn't have the same feeling for Elizabeth like Audrey.
Right.
I loved what she did.
Completely different energy.
Completely. Yeah, completely. And Audrey had nobody around her to interfere. But when she finally got to the studio to tape the hour, I was told by her people that there was no reason I needed to speak to her. And I had spent 3 months preparing this special, and I need to tell Elizabeth what she was going to do.
Yeah.
And they said, there's no need. If you have something you need to tell her, you need to tell us. And I went, yeah, well, that's not going to work too well. So I went right over to Elizabeth, who was putting on her lipstick for 20 minutes, and said, Elizabeth, I need to talk to you alone. And she goes, why, dear? I said, because I've spent 3 months working on this special for you, and I need to tell you what is going to happen. But I'll only do it with you. And she goes, well, come on, let's go. So she walks me out of the room, and I had 16 eyes on 8 people piercing me with, how dare you? How dare you? So I got her into a room, and she was fantastic.
Yeah.
She was wonderful. I said, don't you want to know what we're going to talk about? Because I've made very sure that we don't talk about the things that I don't think you want to talk about. And she said, yes, tell me. And so I told her the whole show. She loved it. She loved it. And walked her back into her dressing room with those 16 eyes and said, thank you, Elizabeth. I really appreciate the time. Yeah, she was something powerful.
Yeah. Well, and it shows, like you said, it's sometimes those people that surround them that that block their.
They block them, period.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
they put up with it. I mean, at some point you have to go back on the star and say, they witnessed this. Maybe they want it. Maybe they like it. I've dealt with several stars who had these keepers who would keep you away at arm's length, which I never liked too much. So I would find a way to get around it.
Yeah. Yeah. And to see, it shows too, back again for you, how if you want to do what you need to do for your work,
yeah, I'll do it. I'll get it done.
Yeah.
Even if it's difficult. I mean, not all the time with all the legends is easy, needless to say. There are times that you want to go, oh my God, how am I going to get through this? But you just do. I like difficult people.
Right.
I don't know why. People, if someone is really difficult, they say, give it to Karen. She's good with these people.
And you happen to get, you know which key to get in to open them
Yeah.
up.
I try to, as Esther Williams used to call it, you haven't never walked in my moccasins. So until you do, you don't know how I'm going to react. So I would always try and figure out how they would act or what they needed or what they didn't need. When someone misbehaved, and I've had things thrown at me, not because they're throwing things at me, because they're angry about something else.
Right.
Something else is bothering them, so they're taking it out on me because I'm the closest person to them. And I will, instead of getting angry or crying or something, I just sit them down and go, this isn't about that pair of earrings you just threw at me. What is it about?
Yeah.
What is it? What's wrong? Because something is wrong. And they would invariably tell me. And then they'd be fine.
Did you go to therapy?
No.
Okay.
They were therapy.
Oh, they were therapy. See,
No.
The reason I asked that is because I've taken therapy most of my life.
Oh, no.
And so I'm very sensitive on, it's like, okay, this person's mad because something's going on with them. They have other stuff.
No, I didn't. I just felt that when someone reacts that way over something and it's uncalled for, that something else is going on with them.
Yeah.
Right? They're getting a divorce. They're pissed. They're didn't have a good morning, they're not speaking to their children. I mean, whatever it is, something is in the way. And I thought, if I don't get that out of the way, then we're never going to have a very good show here. You know, I can't get my work done if you're going to be in that kind of state and throw things. Not good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was one of your favorite moments that I mean, you have so many moments. It's actually hard to pick.
Yeah. Well, I've had so many. With every star you can name, I've had a moment or several moments that I will never forget. Do I have a favorite? My favorite probably had to be meeting Audrey.
Yeah.
That moment of when she answered, she said, "My name is Audrey Hepburn. Hello." Really? Yeah.
Wow.
Or, I mean, it's impossible.
Well, what about, I know you mentioned this to me before, just the name, and the name itself is, again, legend. Vanessa Redgrave.
2 years ago, is it 2 years ago? Vanessa, was it 2 years ago?
I love that, Vanessa.
I have her picture here, so I talk to her on occasion.
Wait. Oh, a little over.
Way back.
Oh, yeah, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, that's just 2 years ago.
Wow.
Just 2 years ago. She was on my bucket list. I mean, people say, who haven't you met that you would really love to meet? And I go, Vanessa Redgrave. Why? I go, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to meet her. So I was working on a project with Franco Nero, who she was married to, not living with, but married to at the time. So I called Franco and I said, if I go to London, can you set it up for me to meet Vanessa, even for a few minutes? And he goes, I don't know, let me see. She's doing a play in the West End or East End somewhere.
Right.
And I go, so he called me back and he said, yeah, she'll see you in between shows. And this was just 2 years ago. So I flew to London just to meet Vanessa Redgrave for however many minutes she would give me.
Right.
So I was a nervous wreck, and I go, my girlfriend said, why are you so nervous? You don't get nervous with stars. I go, I don't know. I don't know. She just does that to me. She said, well, what are you going to say to her? I go, I don't know, but I'll know. If she actually appears, I will know.
Yeah.
Why I came all the way over here just to meet her. And everybody thought that was really a ridiculous thing to do, except, who was it, the star who said, you have to go. If that's what you're feeling, I will think of his name in a minute. You have to go. You know. So I went to the theater and was supposed to meet her in between shows. She was doing an afternoon matinee and an evening. And so I was waiting at the top of the stairs, and one of the people who works at the theater said, who are you waiting for? I said, Vanessa. She goes, she never comes upstairs. I said, she will today.
She will today.
She will today. I hope. Yeah. My girlfriend said, how do you know that? I said, I don't, but she will. You'll see. And up she came in a robe, and she looked right at me and she said, are you Karen? I said, I am. And she goes, well, then you're the one I want to see. And there was like 20 other people waiting with their programs and their pens out and all that. She goes, I'm sorry, I don't do pictures and I can't sign autographs today because I have a meeting. And I just sat there like, oh boy, yay. So she took me in privately in a room and she said, did you really come all the way over here to meet me? I said, I did. She said, why? And then it was my turn. I said, now I have to come up with the reason I'm over here.
Yeah.
I said, because over a period of several months in your life, in the last few years, you have lost 3 people in your life, your daughter, your brother, and your sister. And I see that sadness in your face, and I don't want you to feel that way anymore. And she took hold of my hand, which she has hold of in this picture. And she said, you really came over here to tell me that? I said, I did. She goes, thank you. You're right. When we talked for about 10, 15 minutes and she was gone. I went back last year to see her, which was fantastic. So she was in another play and I went backstage and she said, just go to my dressing room, you know. Okay. So I was able to see her again. And she emails me on occasion, which is lovely.
How amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. I just had to tap into something that I knew would mean something to them.
Yeah.
I mean, she went through hell there. She went through hell. I mean, you don't lose a daughter, a sister, and a brother in a matter of months. You don't.
No.
Yeah, but she did. And it shows. It showed in her. I mean, I love this picture because she looks peaceful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a moment.
Yeah.
That was a good moment.
That's great.
So that was Vanessa. And with every star you could mention, there's some moment that.
Well, I mean, hearing your description of all this, I'm entranced. Number one, the way you tell it is just like, you know, you can't. Yes, and
yeah,
like
a movie.
These are true. This is your life.
Yeah.
This is your life.
This is your life, Karen Grace Cadle. Yeah. Well, but that's what it is.